Imagine walking out of a hospital today with a bill of only $234.31. That's not a typo. It's the full breakdown of a hospital stay in 1956. Room and board? $18 a night. X-ray? $6. Shock therapy? Just $10. Even the telephone call is listed $2.26. No insurance battles, no endless codes, just a neatly itemized slip that feels almost unreal by today's standards. This faded paper isn't just a bill. It's a time capsule of a healthcare system that was accessible, affordable, and shockingly simple compared to the staggering costs Americans face now. A world without smartphones, Wi-Fi, or instant messaging. Communication with the outside world meant sweating in front of massive machines that looked more like weapons than radios. And here she is, stripped down, battling the heat, making history in nothing but grit, determination, and barely any clothes. This wasn't glamour, it was survival. Every signal she sent cut through static and silence, carrying voices across oceans. A shocking reminder that before comfort and convenience, there were pioneers willing to sacrifice anything, even dignity, for connection. This is raw, unfiltered history, the kind they don't teach you in school. Before Hollywood knew her as a star, before Wayne's World and international fame, Tia Carrere was already captivating cameras in 1988. With her Hawaiian roots and striking beauty, she embodied a rare mix of elegance and boldness that demanded attention. This was more than just a portrait. It was the spark of a career that would soon explode on screens across the world. Looking straight into the lens, she wasn't just posing, she was announcing her arrival. Decades later, this image still feels electric, a snapshot of the moment destiny first revealed itself. Two little boys, clutching a toy and each other, became living symbols of survival after the Titanic disaster. Michelle and Edmund Naverdil were just 2 and 4 years old when they were pulled from the freezing Atlantic, alone, without parents, the only children rescued unaccompanied. Known to the world as the Titanic orphans, their faces were splashed across newspapers as people asked, "Who are they?" Their father had perished, their mother left behind in France, and yet against all odds, they lived. This haunting image reminds us, sometimes survival is innocence wrapped in tragedy. What kind of devotion makes strangers map your every step? In the 1950s, Marilyn Monroe, Hollywood's brightest star, was shadowed everywhere by 5 loyal fans who called themselves the Marilyn Five. They knew her schedule, tracked her appearances, and somehow always ended up exactly where she was. Instead of being annoyed, Monroe often stopped to pose, gifting them her radiant smile. This rare photo captures that bond. The world's most desired woman standing shoulder to shoulder with everyday admirers who made following her their mission. It's not just celebrity worship, it's obsession turned into history. What if I told you this wasn't just a car, but a rolling luxury lounge? In 1967, Oldsmobile unveiled the 70X Toronado, a one-of-a-kind concept that fused muscle car styling with outrageous comfort. On the outside, it looked futuristic and aggressive. But inside, a tufted leather wraparound sofa, seat belts for 4, and even a built-in radio in the back seat, turning every ride into a private club on wheels. Only one was ever built, making it a true automotive unicorn. More than transportation, it was a bold statement. Style, power, and excess, all in chrome and leather. Imagine being chosen not for fame or glory, but for sacrifice. In 1963, a tuxedo cat named Felicette became the first and only cat ever sent to space. Strapped into a capsule by French scientists, she endured a 15-minute flight beyond Earth's atmosphere, her tiny body wired to transmit vital data. Against all odds, she survived the mission and returned safely. But her story turned tragic. Shortly after, Felicette was euthanized so her brain could be studied. Forgotten for decades, she is now remembered not just as an experiment, but as a silent pioneer of the space race. In the frozen silence of Greenland, survival was never just about strength, it was about love. This haunting photo from the early 1900s captures an Inuit man warming his wife's bare feet against the biting cold. No grand gestures, no words, just an act of tenderness in a land where life was a constant battle against ice and wind. Every touch was survival, every bond a shield against the elements. It's a reminder that even in the harshest corners of the earth, humanity's greatest strength has always been care, compassion, and the will to protect one another. Would you dare walk a tightrope over the ruins of a destroyed city? In 1946, just 1 year after World War II left Cologne in ashes, Margaret Zimmerman did exactly that. Balancing high above shattered streets and bombed-out buildings, she became a living symbol of defiance. While the world below struggled with hunger, grief, and rebuilding, her fearless act reminded people that courage could still rise from destruction. It wasn't just a performance. It was hope on a wire, a breathtaking statement that even in the ruins of war, life still dared to move forward. What if your body could defy the limits of human skin? This is Felix Wehrle, photographed in the early 1900s, a man whose skin stretched like rubber. While others saw a medical anomaly, Felix turned it into a spectacle, performing in sideshows and astonishing audiences with a talent both fascinating and unsettling. Doctors studied him, baffled by his extreme elasticity, a condition now believed to be a form of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. In an era when science and entertainment collided, Felix stood at the center, living proof that the human body can be stranger and more extraordinary than fiction itself. Imagine the world's most famous painting gone. In 1911, the Mona Lisa vanished from the Louvre, sparking international panic. For 2 years, no one knew where she was. Even Pablo Picasso was questioned as a suspect. Then, in 1914, the masterpiece resurfaced, carried back through the museum doors under tight guard, as this rare photo shows. The thief? Vincenzo Peruggia, an Italian handyman who believed the painting belonged in Italy, not France. His act turned the Mona Lisa into a global icon. Ironically, her theft made her more famous than centuries of admiration ever had. She was Hollywood's glittering star, but her greatest performance was hiding who she truly was. Merle Oberon, born in 1911 in Bombay, carried a secret she never revealed in life. To survive in an industry ruled by racism, she claimed she was white and from Tasmania, bleaching her skin and reinventing her past. In 1935, she became the first Asian woman nominated for a Best Actress Oscar. Yet the world never knew her real origins until after her death. This photo captures the elegance of a woman who lived under the spotlight, while her true identity remained in the shadows. Imagine boarding a plane, not to cramped seats and security checks, but to a flying nightclub. In the 1970s, luxury air travel hit its wildest peak. Airlines transformed cabins into dance floors, complete with mirrored ceilings, DJs, and neon lights. Passengers sipped champagne, lounged on plaid sofas, and danced to disco beats while cruising above the clouds. It was a time when flying wasn't just transportation, it was an event. This rare photo captures that era of glamour and excess, when the Mile High Club meant something completely different, and commercial aviation felt like Studio 54 in the sky. Forget modern spas and glass cupping trends. This is where it all began. Long before wellness became a billion-dollar industry, African healers practiced a striking form of therapy, using heated buffalo horns pressed against the skin to create suction. The belief was simple but powerful: draw out toxins, restore balance, and heal the body. To outsiders it may look shocking, even brutal, but within these traditions it carried deep respect and meaning. This rare photograph captures a moment when ancient knowledge met raw survival, reminding us that the roots of today's wellness fads are far older and far more dramatic. What happens when legends collide outside the ring? In this rare 1970 snapshot, Andre the Giant, standing over 7 feet tall and weighing more than 500 pounds, shares a laugh with his close friend, High Chief Peter Maivia, the grandfather of none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Both were larger-than-life figures, not just in wrestling, but in the culture of their time. Here, stripped of the spotlight, they're simply men enjoying camaraderie, beer, and brotherhood. A frozen moment that bridges 3 generations of wrestling royalty. Proof that the sport's greatest stories often unfold far from the arena. What would you do for fun before TikTok, Instagram, or even color TV? In the late 1950s, teenagers around the world found their thrill in one of the strangest fads in history: phone booth stuffing. The challenge was simple: cram as many bodies as possible into a single telephone booth, no matter how ridiculous it looked. Records reached over 20 people squeezed into a space meant for one. For a brief moment, it swept across continents, turning an everyday object into a stage for absurdity. Proof that viral trends didn't start online. They've always been part of human nature. Imagine being too old for war, yet still handed a rifle and told to fight. This haunting photo from October 1944 shows an elderly German Volkssturm member clutching an outdated Mannlicher rifle, a weapon already obsolete decades earlier. As the Nazi regime collapsed, Hitler ordered civilians, boys as young as 12 and men as old as 70, into a last-ditch militia. With no training, little ammunition, and hopeless odds, they were thrown against advancing Allied forces. The image captures not power, but desperation, the crumbling end of a regime willing to sacrifice anyone to prolong its downfall. It's 1945 in California. The war is over, the world is shifting, and teenagers are ready to carve out their own identity. This photo captures a trio cruising a palm-lined street in a hopped-up Ford, pieced together from Model A and T parts, the hood ripped off to proudly display its souped-up engine with extra carburetors. It wasn't just about speed, it was rebellion, freedom, and defiance of their parents' cautious post-war world. Hot rods became the heartbeat of youth culture, roaring symbols of America's restless spirit. These kids weren't just driving, they were shaping the future of cool. Amid a sea of rigid faces, one soldier dares to break the mold. In this rare photo from around 1990, a Russian conscript sticks out his tongue, mocking the very system that demanded absolute conformity. At a time when the Soviet Union was collapsing and old certainties were crumbling, small acts of defiance like this carried enormous weight. He wasn't shouting slogans or waving flags, just one simple, playful gesture in front of the camera. Yet in that moment, his tongue became a quiet rebellion, capturing the frustration, humor, and humanity behind the iron mask of the Soviet military.